Event-driven architectures are getting more and more important. The possibility to react to things happening in your SAP system will become even more important in the age of agents. 2 years ago, we started on a journey to integrate SAP events with Azure events. A lot of things have happened in the meantime, and when I recently wanted to set up an end-to-end flow, I was struggling a little. So in this and subsequent videos, I want to do a step-by-step setup to send events from your SAP system using the Business Technology Platform to other systems. In this first video, we'll send an event to a queue on the Business Technology Platform and later also push it to a webhook. The first step that you need to decide on is what service are you going to use. If you look at the Discovery Center, you can see that there are 3 main event services: Event Mesh, Integration Suite, Event Mesh, and Advanced Event Mesh. For our first scenario, we will start with Event Mesh. If you start from scratch, this is the cheapest options. Later on, we will also take a look at the Integration Suite, which can make a lot of sense if you already have the Integration Suite in place. Advanced Event Mesh is a little too much for the simple scenarios that we want to address in these videos. So let's get started. So obviously there are multiple events in an SAP system that are created. In our first quick scenario, what we want to do is whenever a business partner is created. So for example, if I go here to transaction BP, if I create here a new user, and if I save this user, then a new event or a new business partner is created. And in this specific case, obviously, now I could do something with this event. The same thing is if a sales order is created, if a purchase order is created, if material master data changes or something like that. There's always an event created, and now I want to do something with this specific event. Now, as mentioned before, there are different kinds of scenarios how I can get access to these events. And if we look at SAP, if we look at the Business Technology Platform, and if we look at the SAP Discovery Center and search there for event-driven architectures, we can see that there are, well, 5, but mainly 3 important services. There's SAP Advanced Event Mesh, which is too powerful for our simple scenario where we just want to send, the business partner creation or a sales order creation over. So we will not focus too much on this. There is the Integration Suite, which also has this event integration capabilities, and there's Event Mesh. And SAP Event Mesh, that's the cheapest, easiest way to get started. There's also some really cool integrations of how you can get your data from the SAP system connected to your Business Technology Platform, SAP Event Mesh. So that's what we want to get started. So when I then switch to my Business Technology Platform sub-account, and unfortunately this is not available in the trial environment, so you really need to have a full sub-account, then what I can do is I can just create here a new service. I just search for Event Mesh, and I can see that there are different plans. So the first one is the standard plan that I need to create. This standard plan allows me to go to an application where I can manage, where I can create queues and stuff like that. So that's the first thing that I want to do. So if I now open this application to the SAP Event Mesh, you see that I get an error message, and that is because I'm missing some roles. So what I need to do is I need to go to my user, and then I can assign this new Enterprise Messaging Administrator role to my user. So I'll just do this, I'll assign this role. And now actually before I can start the application again, I need to sign out and sign in again so that during the new sign-in, all these role assignments are actually done. So let me quickly do this. Let me just take the URL here. Log in again. And now if I go again to our service instance, if I open up SAP Event Mesh, so if I just start here this application, I can now see here all the configuration options basically. It also says that I'm missing here an Event Mesh service instance. So let's go back here and let's create this one. So again, I'm just searching for Event Mesh, And now in the service plan, I'll actually use here this specific service instance. So I'll select this, I'll give it this a name, receive events from S4, from my S4 system. And now I can add here a lot of parameters, like I can define an event mesh name, namespace, version, and so on. So I have created this already. So here, for example, I have the name, I have my namespace, I have the version. I'm also defining that I want to use management, the REST protocol, and obviously messaging. And here for the rules and filters, I just have this default $namespace. With this, I can just create this service instance. And now that the instance is created, I can just go back in here, I can refresh the page, and we can see here this specific instance in our SAP Event Mesh. You can also see that right now we don't have any queues, we don't have any webhooks. What we do have is the rules that we specified, but that's basically it. So now we need to connect our S4 system with this specific service instance. And the thing to do this is actually really, really nice. So I'll just go here to our instance. And from here, I can create a service binding. So I'll just click on create. I'll give it a name, service binding BTP event mesh. And I'll just click on create. Now this service binding contains all the relevant information. So it contains the client ID, the client secret. It contains the endpoints that are relevant to connect to the specific instance. So I can just copy this information. And now if I go back to my SAP system, and if I go to the transaction IWXBE config, I can create a channel from my SAP system to the Business Technology Platform. And the cool thing here is I can just say I want to do this via a service key, via this service binding. So I just copy and paste this information in here. I'll give it a name, send events to BTP. Let's actually use the same for the description. I click on save, and now we have this connection established. It's not yet active, so you can see the status is not yet green or anything. The active flag is also not there. You can see that a destination was actually created. If I click on this, then you can see that there was an RFC destination created of type G, so HTTP connection. We can see here the host, we can see the path prefix. All of this information was part of the service key. What I can also do is I can do a quick connection test. This connection test will actually fail because I do not provide any logon data. But what you should get is like a 404 or something like that. You should not get an error message that there was an SSL, a certificate error. If you get a certificate error, then what you could do is you could check in S-Trust and import the SSL certificate of our endpoint here in the S-Trust, in the SSL store. Once you do this, then hopefully you will not get any SSL errors anymore, and then you should be good to continue with the configuration. So as mentioned, we have now here our channel. So what I need to do is I need to first activate this channel. Now when I activate this channel, you first might get an error message here. So status is red, and you can see here daemons is not running. Don't worry, just click on refresh, and hopefully the status will change to green and everything is good. So now again, we have from our S4 system, the channel towards our Business Technology Platform. So now we need to tell the channel what are actually the events that we want to listen to. What are the events that we want to send over? So what I'll do is here, I go to these outbound bindings, and there you can see a long list of pre-configured entities that we can use to send events over. So for example, there's a batch change or something like that. There's billing documents. There is business solutions. There's so you can see change records. So you can see that there's multiple business events. What I want to do is I want to look for business partners. Here we go, business partner. And you can see there's even the possibility to do changed and created. What I'll do is I'll just listen to all business partner related events. I'll save this. And now we are almost ready. So we told the SAP system, if there is an event, send it over using this specific channel to the SAP side, to the Business Technology Platform side. But actually now what we need to do is on the Business Technology Platform, we need to receive the events and we need to put them in a queue. And this queue is something that we can create here. So I'll just go to queue. I'll click on create queue. We'll give this a queue, a name. We call it business partners. And I just click on create. Now we have this pool, this queue name basically. And what we'll do is we'll add an additional subscription. And this subscription basically allows me to filter incoming events. In our specific case, I want to listen to everything. So I need to find out this topic name. This topic name obviously is part here of the configuration. But what I can also easily do is I can just take a look here at our channel that we configured. And here's the topic space. So I will just take everything from this specific channel. So with this, I'll just go back here to our queue. I'll enter the topic name and click on add. Now we have also the topic defined and we are basically ready to receive events from the SAP system here in the Business Technology Platform. So with this, let's actually go back here to our SAP system. Before I send and trigger the event, let me open actually a few additional logs, which potentially makes troubleshooting a little easier. So first of all, I want to open up here the WebSocket trace. So the WebSocket trace allows me to see what's actually happening, what is being sent from my SAP system. And later on, these numbers here will become really important. Right now, we just have it open so that we can check this in a second. The other really cool service is the event trace. So with the event trace, what we can do is we can, first of all, activate the event trace. So I can switch it on, switch it off. There's also a restriction. Just make sure that it is set to your current date so that we actually trace these events. And then I can actually take a look at this trace. So this is here our tracing data. So if I execute this, then you can see, okay, I did already a test before, but these are some events that were already sent later to or earlier today. But right now, from a time perspective, nothing is there. So with this, let me actually go back here to our business partners, and let me create a new event. So I'll create here another user, another Holger Bruchelt. So I'll save this. And here this new business partner was created. Now, before I take a look at the Business Technology Platform, let me refresh here the WebSocket trace and keep an eye out of these numbers here. So if I click on refresh, you can see that there was an increase. So we did send something over to the Business Technology Platform. Or if we take a look at our event trace, if I refresh this page here, you can see that there was a new create event, which just happened, which sent the information over to the Business Technology Platform. Which means that hopefully, if we switch over here to our SAP Event Mesh, and if I click on refresh, then we can see that there's now one message in our queue, and that is something that we now can quickly take a look at as well. So actually, the SAP Event Mesh service allows us also access via REST APIs, which means we can take a look at these queues via a REST client. So what I want to do is I have here prepared a small REST client in Visual Studio Code. And obviously the first thing is before we can access our queues, we need to fetch an access token. So the cool thing there is if I just take a look at the service binding, so all the information that we have here, let me actually quickly take this one and put it in here, then we can see all the relevant information. So we have the information of the token endpoint. And I will basically focus here on the HTTP REST related thing. So this is the token endpoint that we need to specify. And you can see I already did this. So the next thing is the authorization. So the authorization, we are using basic authentication, and we are using the client ID as the user. So I'll use this one. And we use the client secret as the password. So with this, if I post this message now to our BTP instance, I get this access token back. With this access token, I can now actually query the queue. And the queue is somewhere, this is obviously here under this specific URL. So I'll go to this specific URL here. And then I need to take a look here at the messaging REST service, V1 queues. And then here is the topic that we have created. So let me quickly go back here. This is our default AZ HBR business partners. Actually, let me double check if I have this here, because I think in a previous run I called this slightly different. So now it's business partners. So it's default, then the slash is actually in escaped notations, AZ HBR business partners. So if I execute now this specific call, we can fetch the information. And actually, let me quickly go back in here. If I now refresh this, this message is still there, but it is now an unacknowledged message. So if I take a look here, I can see that this business partner ID that we previously created in our SAP system, this one here, this is now a message that we can see here in the queue. And now obviously, instead of just having here a REST client, we can do much more things. And that's what we'll do in the next videos.